What's on, ladies and gentlemen? My name's Ross, I like games, and today we are continuing our look at the top cards from Worlds Collide, the new Keyforge expansion, and today it is the turn of Untamed. And this is, of all the ones, I always do a poll up on Facebook, and I generally respect the poll. But this is probably the one where I have deviated the most. I have really elevated two up, I've popped one down, I'm sorry, but hopefully I can explain myself and make more sense. So, a couple of honourable mentions before we get going. First of all, Moorwolf. It is a 2-power, 0-armor creature with skirmish. That is to say, once it starts a fight, you will not take any damage. And when you play it, you ready each other wolf creature. Now, as it stands at the moment, I believe this is the only wolf we've got. But of course, there's every possibility in the future we will get more wolves. And that's cool. I want to find like a 7-wolf deck. Play one. And then the next time you got one ready. And then the next time you got 2 ready. And so on and so forth. And oh my goodness, this could be an awful lot of fun. The other honourable mention I want to give out here quickly is to Harmonia. Harmonia is a 2-power, 0-armor creature with elusive. That is to say that if you are attacked the first time, you take no damage. It is only the second time per turn that you actually get hurt. But after you play a creature, if there are more enemy creatures than friendly creatures, you gain an amber. And this is just really nice amber rushing. You play a creature, oh, my opponent's got more than me, I gain an amber. Now, when you even up and then go ahead, okay, fine, get it. But until that point, ladies and gentlemen, play a creature, gain an amber. Yeah, very, very cool. But let's start off looking at the top 10 proper. And in at number 10, we've got Bramble LYNX. Bramble LYNX is a fun one. 3 power, 0 armor with skirmish, so you start the fight, you don't take any damage. If you have used a creature to reap this turn, Bramble LYNX enters play ready. And we've seen this with Silvertooth. Having creatures enter play ready is good. It means that you can immediately start reaping. None of this, oh, we gotta wait a minute. No. You immediately start reaping. It means that you can immediately start fighting, bearing in mind you've got skirmish. So it's not like, oh, I've started the fight, but it's gonna go wrong. No. You start the fight, and then you don't take any damage back. Being able to immediately use the creature you play is absolutely brilliant. This is a huge, huge advantage. In at number 9, Song of the Wild. Song of the Wild is an action card, and when you play it for the remainder of the turn, each friendly creature gains Reap, gain 1 Amber. It basically makes all of your creatures into double Reapers. When you Reap, you still gain the regular Amber you would always have gained, but now you get to gain another Amber as well. Well, gee whiz, ladies and gentlemen. Isn't that rather lovely? And of course, if you're already gaining extra amber, this just gains you 1 on top of that. It means that you're gaining more amber. Back in Call of the Archons, Untamed was really known for its amber rushing capabilities. The ability to just rush and grab a whole bunch of amber using cards like Full Moon and Hunting Witch and Dust Pixie. We didn't see that back in Age of Ascension, and it's really not to the same degree in Worlds Collide, but cards like this can really help you to gain a lot of amber. It's obviously very dependent on what you've actually got in your deck, because the fact of the matter is, right, if you've not got many creatures with which to reap, this becomes irrelevant. Not unlike Full Moon, but if you've got enough creatures and you can keep them in play, it's going to get very, very fun very, very quickly. In at number 8, we've got MUSTHIC MURMOOK, just in case there weren't enough Murmooks. Weirdly, not the last Murmook we're going to see on this list. 4 power, 0 armor, and each player's keys cost 1 more amber. So this is another one of those that you've got to be really careful how you play. Because if you're winning and ahead in the game and gaining lots of amber, all this does is hurt you. But if your opponent is winning and ahead in the game and getting lots of amber, this could be the thing that gives you time to mount a little bit of a comeback. It reminds me very much of Titan Mechanic, though Titan Mechanic only works on a flank. Interesting to see how many of these we're going to see in a deck. But then again, when we've got stuff like Grump Buggy, which we've seen increase the cost of forging keys, you know, I mean, especially in combination with Iron Obelisk, up to like 15, 16 amber needed to forge a key. And that's literally just in a vault or high up in the top cut. That's not in some friendly game that's probably broken the record. Point is, this can be very useful, but you got to play it right. When you play it, however, you deal 4 damage to a creature. Now, that could, of course, be something like your own Brend the Fanatic, which, when it gets destroyed, you steal 3 amber. Most of the time, it's going to be your opponent's. Please bear in mind that it is a creature, so if your opponent has no creatures on board, you will have to deal 4 to one of your own creatures. Cool. In at number 8, Xenos Bloodshadow and Toad. You see, Xenos Bloodshadow is one of the very best creatures we've got in Worlds Collide. It does a little bit of everything. By Worlds Collide, really Keyforge. 4 power, 0 armor is fine, but not phenomenal. But then we see that it's got elusive. So the first time you're attacked each turn, nothing happens. And it's got skirmish, so that if you start the fight, you don't take any damage back. And it's got hazardous 6, which is to say that when your opponent attacks you, they take 6 damage before the fight even happens. And bearing in mind, the first time they've got to break the elusive anyway. It's kind of fantastic. And you've got poison, so if you deal any damage while attacking, you get an instant KO. Yeah, that's pretty phenomenal. So you basically instant kill anything unless they've got enough armor that they can survive all 4 damage. And you've got hazardous 6, so the majority of creatures will get destroyed before they even touch you. And you've got both elusive and skirmish. I mean, frankly, ladies and gentlemen, this all adds up to a phenomenal card. Now, the downside here, of course, it comes with Toad as a special rare. They are packaged together, and Toad is inarguably the worst creature we've ever had. 1 power, 0 armor. Anything it attacks will be destroyed, and it cannot reap. It's gosh darn terrible. But Xenos Bloodshadow kind of makes it worth it. In at number 6, FANGTOOTH CAVERN. It is an artifact that gives you an amber bonus, and at the end of your turn, you destroy the least powerful creature. Now, the downside here is, it is the least powerful creature, not the least powerful enemy creature. But the upside is it's at the end of your turn. That is to say that you can plan for it. You can try and make sure that you've got what you need so that either a creature's being destroyed that you don't care about, that's yours, or a creature's being destroyed that belongs to your opponent. Either way, we're doing all right here. This is nice. It can come back to bite you. It can destroy one of your own creatures. So you do have to be careful in that regard. But generally speaking, this is going to get a lot of your opponent's creatures off the board, just like you want them. In at number 5, a card which I've dropped a bit, which the poll had a bit higher. Unnatural Selection. It is an action card that gives you an amber bonus, and essentially you choose 3 of your creatures, and 3 of your opponent's creatures, and everything else gets destroyed. That is to say that you keep your 3 best creatures and your opponent keeps their 3 worst creatures. The reason I don't have this higher on the list is because there are too many times this could go badly. There are too many games where you're going to end up losing creatures you really do want. And especially if your opponent's got no creatures out and you do, you're just going to lose a bunch of creatures. But that's the worst case scenario. The best case scenario here is that you're going to get rid of a whole bunch of your opponent's creatures while not getting rid of your own. That's kind of awesome. Also, try and keep a Toad out, would ya? Because then that will be amusing that you leave your opponent with 3 creatures, at least one of which is a Toad. In at number 4, we've got MOLEPHIN. MOLEPHIN is a 3 power, 0 armor creature, and it's got hazardous 3. Like we talked about with Xenos Bloodshadow, that means that if your opponent wants to attack you, they've got to take 3 damage before the fight even happens. But that's not the best thing about MOLEPHIN. The best thing about MOLEPHIN is that after Amber is stolen from you, you deal 1 damage to each enemy creature for each Amber stolen. So one that we see quite a lot and that is in Worlds Collide is Ronnie Wristclocks. Steals 1 Amber, but if you've got 7 or more, they steal 2. Well, that means you would destroy Ronnie and deal 2 damage to every one of your opponent's creatures, only 1 if you didn't have 7 Amber, so they only stole 1. This doesn't stop your opponent stealing Amber, but what it does do very nicely is make it painful for them to do so, and for that reason, I'm a big fan. In at number 3, honestly, I'm amazed this didn't come number 1. I elevated it a lot. I think it's the best card, but I'm going to respect the poll a little bit. It is Eldest Bear. A 5 power, 0 armor creature with Assault Free. Assault Free is when you start the fight, you deal 3 damage before the fight happens. It's the opposite of Hazardous. And before the fight, if Eldest Bear is in the center of your battle line, you gain 2 Amber. So if you go against a creature with 3 power or less, you destroy them while gaining 2 Amber. And nothing bad happens. And your 5 power, which in and of itself is pretty gosh darn nice. I'm a big fan of Eldest Bear. It's one of these creatures, one of these cards that does a lot of things, and all of them are good. In at number 2, Imprinted MURMOOK. It is a 3 power, 0 armor creature with elusive, and your keys cost -1 Amber. Now, we mentioned Titan Mechanic earlier, and this is basically that, except only for you, and it doesn't need to be on a flank. I've heard rumors people can have at least 2 of these in a deck. I am really interested to see how many of these we can get in a deck. That would be amazing. Have 4 of these. Your keys cost 2 Amber. The fact that it's one-sided is what really makes this card so phenomenal. Reducing the cost of your keys is really good, but reducing the cost of your keys while ignoring the cost of your opponent, that, ladies and gentlemen, is how we get a really very good card indeed. But it's not number 1, because in at number 1 is Ghosthawk. Wouldn't have been my number 1, but the poll was definitive that Ghosthawk should be number 1. What Ghosthawk does, now it's a creature, and it is a 2 power, 0 armor, no elusive, no skirmish, so it's not a powerful creature. But it does have deploy, meaning it does not need to be put down on the flank. It can be put down anywhere in your battle line. And when you play, you may reap with each neighboring creature 1 at a time. Now, as a side note, it doesn't ready the creatures. So you've got to have ready creatures. So have 2 creatures not from your house next to each other. They get readied at the end of your turn, and then on your Untamed turn, pop down a Ghosthawk, boom, get 2 more Amber. That's phenomenal. And the great thing I really love about Ghosthawk, either they leave it and you keep reaping, or they destroy it, it goes into your discard pile ready to be recovered, or ready for you to run out of deck, shuffle your discard pile, and that becomes your deck. And oh, look! Now you get to play Ghosthawk again and get 2 more Amber from 2 more reaping. Ghosthawk is a very nice card. So there we go, ladies and gentlemen. Those are the top 10 cards from Untamed in Worlds Collide. Looking again only at the new cards. But I would very much like to know what you think about all of this good stuff. So let me know in the comment section and give me a whole top 10. I'd be delighted. Go nuts. Be nice. And then make sure you like this video, subscribe to this channel, and follow me on Twitter at the Wossy, where we talk about Keyforge and whatever other games take our fancy. And do please consider checking out patreon.com/PTCGradio, where you can support the channel, get some bonus podcasts, all of that good stuff. But by far the most important thing, as always, look after yourselves till next time, would ya? Thank you very much for watching. My name's Ross, and you've been watching Wossy Plays.